Okay, welcome to TikTok. I'm going live again. If it's coming back on, we're notifying the users that you're live. Okay. So anyway, where was I, guys? I don't remember. What was I talking about? Huh? Okay. Taking at the Torah and what it does. There's a general taking at the Torah. That's a special chayas that you have for the whole year that gives you strength. And there's additional ones that taking at the Torahs that in this case for a special thing, it's a chazakah, it gives strength for the whole year. Like the additional sacrifices like we bring on holidays. So it's additional to the regular annual like just like we have in the and we bring into meeting, we bring a daily sacrifice every day of the year, in the afternoon, in the morning, afternoon, and even on Shabbos, always that. And then we have the Shabbos and Yom Tov, and we add to it. So he says the same thing here. It's the Torah. He's comparing that. There's the Torah that we read that bring out 3 Torahs in Simchas Torah. That's like the annual. That's like this gives the power every day, like the daily sacrifice. And then we have the Musafim, the special things, which the Rebbe is going to talk about now. So it says the difference between them corresponds to the content of the reading in the 3 scrolls. The content of the reading of the 3 Torah scrolls on Rosh Chodesh Nissan that occurs on Shabbos is emphasized in the reading of the 3rd Torah scroll in which we read Parshas Hakodesh. That's Hachodesh. That's like the beginning of Judaism, the first mitzvah that we had. Regarding the unique quality of Rosh Chodesh Nissan, what's this? This month will be for you the head of the months. The Rosh Chodesh. So we talk about Parshas Hakodesh. That Hashem designates Nisan as the first month for the Jewish people. And the concept of the reading in the 3 Torah scrolls on Simchas Torah is emphasized in the reading of the 2nd Sefer Torah, of the beginning of the beginning of the Torah, for the reason we read them 3 Sefer Torahs, although the reading is as required by the original law to read Vazosa Bracha, and the parts regarding the offerings of the day, only 2 Sefer Torahs, is based on because we begin immediately after completing. Bereshis is the beginning of that Hashem created. So what's he saying here? We go over this here and not clear on that. So okay, the whole concept by Simchas Torah is the 2nd Torah that emphasizes it. Why is the 2nd Torah? The 2nd Torah is talking about Bereshis Bar Elokim. The Sefer Hashem V'Kiyuz of Torah Shari Yatam Tegoim Blessed Summon. Was also Garbo's going based on the Bahu Mipnei Maskifim Tatakili Lishlema. Because that we okay, that same liberation. Okay, so the reason we add an extra Sefer Torah by Simchas Torah is because we want to start as soon as we finish, start again. That's it. If we start over again, since I heard once an interesting thing that in order to start to a higher level, you have to start over again. You have to become nothing. That's why it says, like the rabbis, when they would go from Babylon to go to Israel, learn the Torah Shalmi, which is much different. They would have to forget everything they learned. And why does it say in the last Parsha, the Torah, last thing in the Torah, the last thing we see in the Torah that Hashem is praising Moshe Rabbeinu for breaking the luchos, because of Hashem Tov says you have to have a level of being nullified, and you have to become like nothing to receive anew. So here the Rebbe says something else. He says the reason that we read Bereshis Bar Elokim, that we start anew, is because as soon as we complete something, we should start immediately a new thing. We start over again new. So he says this. Now he didn't go what this means in servitorship, but this is what he's saying. And in the wording of our sages, brought in the beginning of Rashi's commentary on Torah, the Torah had only to begin with Hachodesh this month will be for you, which is the first mitzvah that the Jewish people were commanded And why did it begin with Bereshis and the beginning God created the world? Namely, that the Torah reading of Simchas Torah is in a matter that the beginning with Bereshis, and the reading on Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan is from this month will begin. That the first month that the Jewish people commanded. I don't know what he said here. It goes in Hebrew. Russian Chazal. No, I didn't. Okay, because I'll say that we didn't have to start the Torah only from Hachodesh and Salachem because it's the first mitzvah in the Torah that was commanded to Jewish people. So why did it start with Bereshis? Aina Shekarim, but Simchas Torah Hebrew Opsha Pasuk Bereshis. That's because by Simchas Torah it says if we do it in a way that we open up with Bereshis. Shahakriya the Shabbos Rosh Chodesh he. Hachodesh is them. He missed Rishon should never admit. I think what the Rebbe is saying here is that we say that we see that Hashem right away on Tishrei we start Bereshis Ba'Elohim came right away as soon as we finish the world, and the same and with very similar things say by Rosh Chodesh Nissan. That Rosh Chodesh Nissan is talking about Pasuk Bereshis. That Rosh Chodesh Nissan is talking about the beginning of the mitzvahs. I think that's what he's saying. I'm not sure. I think he's saying that the first the Hachodesh Lelachem, that Bereshis Bara is that once the Torah is created, once the Torah is finished, we start right over again. Bereshis Bara Elokim Esreshmayim. And that you also have the same concept. It's by Rosh Chodesh Nissan. By Rosh Chodesh Nissan is the beginning. We're starting anew. We're starting the new counting again also because it's the first month of the year. But let's see what he said. I'm not that clear on this. Yesh Malchus been created the Parshas Hakodesh, the created the Simchas Torah, who al derech who wants a chiluk ben Nissan and Tishrei. So the Rebbe is saying something very special here. He says, I'm going to tell you something special. So what's the difference between the reading of the Torah? He's going to go into it, that we read by Parshas Hakodesh. This is we read about this by Nissan, and one that we read by Simchas Torah. He says there's a similar difference between the month of Nissan and Tishrei. Shahamodim Shabam is Mislayim B'Simcha, that the holidays that were in Simcha is known that Tishrei that Tishrei. Okay, the Rebbe is going to explain here that the Tishrei has to do with Hanagas Teva, that everything has to go according to a way, one level to another. The whole abode in Tishrei is tshuva, that you work on yourself. The whole idea of it. And these are the idea of miracles. Things just God took us out, everything from above. Nisim Niflaos. So there's actually there's another mimer, which is the 25th of Adar, which is also the last time the Rebbe spoke was the 25th of Adar, the Rebbe's birthday. That talks about there's a machlokas between Rebbe Eliezer and Rebbe Yeshua. The Rebbe Eliezer says Rosh Hashanah is in Nisan, and Rebbe Yeshua says Rosh Hashanah is in Tishrei. No, the other way. Rebbe Eliezer said Rosh Hashanah is in Tishrei, and Rebbe Yeshua said Rosh Hashanah is in Nisan. And this is a discussion in the Gemara, and I think it's in the Mishnah too. And the Rebbe says they also disagree with how to bring the Gula. Rebbe Eliezer says Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah, so he believes everything has to do with the voda from below up. So he says in order to bring the Gula, we have to work on ourselves, change ourselves, we have to put the service from below up. Rebbe Yeshua says, who holds by miracles, it says the whole thing of miracles by Nissan, Pesach. He says he believes in miracles. He said Hashem loves us so much. We're special children. We don't have to do anything. He's going to take us out. Then they also have a discussion when the best time for Mashiach to take us out. Then they also have a discussion when the best time for Mashiach to come. So Rebbe Eliezer says Tishrei, Rebbe Yeshua says Nissan. So we see here that there are two different ways of how they view. So that Nissan has to do just miracles and wonders and miracles, and Hashem is going to take us out. And Tishrei has to do more with the Derech HaTeva, how God created the world a certain way, that you have to wake up, you have to work, you have to eat well, you have to pray, you have to do what you have to do to this world, and then you'll succeed. From below up. Let's see whether Rebbe brings us. Yesh Leimer, there is, Yesh Leimer, it's a Chiddush. that there's a difference between the reading of Parshas Hakodesh to the reading in Simchas Torah. We see similar like the difference between Nissan and Tishrei. So it says, it's known that Tishrei has Hagas Hateva, that it goes according to the natural means, that you have to work and on things, that from what you work according to what you get. Passover Bereshis, that's why it says the Torah started Bereshis. And Nissan, Yonyana, on August Nisis. Nissan has to do with miracles. Say on August Yisrael, this is how we are. The Jews are like this. What's it mean? That Torah never only, but that the world was made for us, and also the Torah. The world was also that's why the world's created, because of us, not for anything else. God had us, and then He said, "Now I'm going to create the world." If we weren't around, God would never created the world. It's ours. We have to take it and do wonderful things and make it beautiful, full of godliness and happiness and joy. Until there came to such a question, but why did it start with Bereshis, the Torah? Then it says over there, element it says that this Rashi says it wasn't necessary, but only to start. The story should have started with Hachodesh, this first mitzvah they commanded us. Then August him who on August nieces, that the way that we conduct ourselves is a miracle way. But like it says, Hachodesh this month, talking about Nissan, is for you. What's it mean? That when Hashem chose in Yaakov and his children, He chose us to be His special children. That He established in them the Rosh Chodesh of redemption. Garment August on August Nisan, even a redemption also that we don't have to go according to the ways of the world, but we can go the way in miracles. The Rebbe is saying that we can do miracles, we can lie in miracles, we can live miracle life, because that's who we are. That's the Jews are, and that's why when we bring from the miracles from this level of Nisim to the flowers, and we bring it into this world, so the world sees and shines with these miracles. Then that's the way we bring the redemption. According to this, there's to explain that the difference between the different ways of the bringing out of the three Sefer Torahs and Simchas Torah and Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan. That in bringing out the three Sefer Torahs and Simchas Torah, we make a chazakah, through strength, three-way. On the general surface, there is, according to Seder Ragam, to the way of the world, to meet and consider the natural ways of the world. But that you have to go according to the ways of the world. And that bringing out the three Sefer Torahs and Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan, it makes the chazaka a quality of one above and shal sofa al seder haraga. That makes that you should add to it. Kamusim kalasim above and shal agas nisis. So this, the three Sefer Torahs, the Rebbe says from Simchas Torah, that gives us that the power and strength that we should do our avodah from below up. That we have to work on ourselves and be nice and think of each other and think of the fellow Jew and think of the world and the fellow human being and be nice and spread out and don't, if somebody crushes you, don't, I think it's just, don't get upset over it. Let's just go and do stuff. We have to really work on ourselves in some ways. That's one level. The other level, like I tell people, this is what the Rebbe says. I tell people that, like when you're in sports. So the coach in sports tells everybody in the beginning of the year, you guys, we can win championship, but you have to work on yourself. You have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to come to practice, you can't party around. Then what happens? So what happens finally the final day? What happens? What happens in the end? When they're in the championship game, he doesn't tell them that. He says, "You're champions, be yourself." The Rebbe says our generation were champions. And we have to realize we're special champions. And we just have to be ourselves. Because that's what in Hagas Nisis. That's that we're miraculous people. That's when it's a Rebbe says over here. So one is like that you have to work on yourself. This is bringing, and then the other one, the higher level, is I'm talking about bringing three servitors on in Nissan that has to do that. You're adding on. It's just like we would add on to the regular sacrifice on Yom Tovim and Shabbos. So the same thing we add on that we do it on Hachodesh. I don't know if the Rebbe if this fits to me. All of them are very similar, but it fits very much to me. The Rebbe says that there's like the level of this as far as we're going to go on this. I mean, I'll go longer if you guys want. I don't know. You guys want to learn longer? You up to it? Yes? No? Maybe? How's the soup? Okay. So, let's see, what was I? The Rebbe, I once signed a letter from the Rebbe that's in English. Actually, I think in volume 6, it was English. I read it written to somebody in English. That the person asked him why he had to learn the secrets of the Torah. So the Rebbe told him, it says, we see in the Torah two apparent contradictory things. One thing it says, that if you go in the way of my statues, you get all the brachas, at least all the brachas, wonderful life, everything's like you're Gan Eden, special. And then another place it says in the Holy Tanya, which is the Tanya Tika, the special book of the of Hasidus, a special book, it says that this world is full of klipa and tzedakah. So, what does it mean? The Rebbe is a very interesting thing. It's always, sometimes you read something like sticks out. The Rebbe said over there, he says, when a person is davening and doing what he's supposed to be doing and doing Torah mitzvahs and being a good match, then he's going to get all the brachos. Because why? Because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And so therefore all of this is the vessel to receive all the brachos. But if a person doesn't and he just lives his life and is not doing being a holy Jew and helping people out, being a wonderful person, and just doing the best he can to what God ever gave him, to whatever God puts in front of him, to be a good human being and a holy Jew. He says, so then he says, the Rebbe says, it says, Al Samach Alanes. You're not allowed to rely on miracles. So if you live this way, you're relying on miracles, you should be okay. So if you do what you're supposed to do, you fly over it all because you have the vessels for all the brachos. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then for fact that you can get one place to the other without getting done in by some craziness from the gullus, it's you're relying on miracles. So anyway, so the Rebbe is talking about, I know I brought that up, it's talking about miracles. Very interesting stuff. Okay, so let's go a little bit weiter. Yes, the Rebbe will explain this even more. According to how it explains, the Chazal say, Hachodesh that will be the first month. It's the first mitzvah that was commanded to the Jewish people. Mitzvah, what's it mean, mitzvah, daik, especially a mitzvah commandment, below Torah. It was the first, it wasn't the first Torah that was commanded, Rebbe says, it was the first mitzvah. He says, the mitzvah Rishona. Doesn't say this is the first Torah. So we knew that the difference between a Torah and a mitzvah, that Torah, it's above the worlds. But a mitzvah, its whole idea is commanding a person how he should conduct himself in the world, that through this he becomes one. Mitzvah and tzapsa becomes one, united with the person and the world with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what actually we're talking about in Tanya about this, that mitzvahs are really totally one with Hashem, and that only through them you can get to one with Hashem. Because even a person who loves Hashem, it's him loving God. He's a mitzias, he's an existence. But mitzvahs are actually the actual will of Hashem in this world. So by doing the mitzvahs, you come one with Hashem. So that's what he's talking about here. He says the Torah is above, but mitzvahs come down in this world and tie yourself into God. And with that movement, it's understood that Hachodesh Elochem, it's the first mitzvah. The Rebbe emphasized the word mitzvah. that's Kabbalah on August thesis that you've done in a miraculous way. That it has to be done in a when you're doing mitzvahs. This first mitzvah has to be done in a miraculous way, because this is the service of the month of Nisan. And through this, you make a chazaka, you make it strengthening on the three Sefer Torahs that you have, of all, I guess, the other two Sefer Torahs that you have, Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. So this is not talking about only something that we should do miraculously above the world, like learning Torah, which is above from the world. In Torah, Simchas Torah, we see that Torah itself in the revealed way is manifested in Simchas Torah more than the other shot, more than we see in Rosh Chodesh Nissan. Ki im says a Nagas Nissan, but should be done in a miraculous way. And then Jackals going to Gamliel, brothers, in other words, you should be doing miracles, and you should see that it comes down into this physical world. That's this month. He mitzvah Rishon, it's the first mitzvah that was given to us. This means the low Indian shall Torah shall olam. It doesn't mean that God gave us something Torah that's beyond the world. A mitzvah itself, that actual thing in this physical world. El Shabbat Derek Haragel, come on August 7. Ki im kamo Derek Nisan. So he says, so this is the first mitzvah, but this mitzvah, it's not only that you're doing something in worldly matters that you do according to the ways of nature, according to how Hashem set the world up, but also you do it in miraculous ways. I mean, it's very, that's above nature. I give out Rebbe water a lot. I have people right into the Rebbe. And this is like miracles. So maybe I don't know if this is a good mashal, but it's like I'm change. I do the world. I do miracles. Like this guy gave it. I was in shul the other day. A guy comes tells me. I have many stories. But he comes and tells me a story. He's gonna try and get him to put it out. Tells me a story that there was it was his brother's wife's sister, some relative to him, and they had a friend who was not Jewish. They were nice people. They were just very friendly. And the non Jewish person came out with a tumor in her head, and she was very sick. So somehow they got in touch with Rebbe water. They gave her some Rebbe water, and some other things. So the sister of the friend of the Gentile person, good friend of them, she was afraid to call her, because she was afraid to call her because she didn't want. She was afraid to call her because she didn't want to hear any bad news. So her brother called. He says, "Oh, I'm fine. Everything cured." That the doctors don't know what happened. The tumor blew. The tumor blew out, and I. How do I get rid of this guy? Well, I don't know how to do any of this. Oh, here he is. Right. Okay. Oh, Klein did it already. Huh? Yeah. Hi. Welcome to the share. We love you. Okay, guys. Anyways, we have more company over here. What's in the spoon? Anyways, okay, guys. Okay, so we're okay. Amazing stuff. I love the Rebbe stuff. Anyways, this okay. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like giving out Rebbe, and you see miracles upon miracles. That was one miracle. Was another miracle? My wife told me a shlucha called her. There was a lady who came to her, and she was allergic to cucumbers. They had to take one of these little pens that many, I forget what they call, but when you go into shock when you're allergic. And huh? Some, yeah, EpiPen. So she forgot to bring it. And somehow she had cucumber by mistake, and she went into this terrible thing, and they gave her some Rebbe water, and everything opened up. And later on, she went to the doctor. She said she doesn't have to. She's not allergic to it anymore. Just crazy stories right and left with the water. Unbelievable stuff. Everything you hear and see. I gave it to a guy. What's another good story with the water? This is like miracles. That's the Rebbe's miracles that we're talking about. You have to live in Nisim. But that's what I do. You have to live Nisim. You have to take the Rebbe's miracles and live with them. And the Nisim of the world and saying stuff. That's what it means. We live Nisim. We judge ourselves. We do what we have to do, but we tie into the Nisim Neflaos. What was another one? So the guy, Galetsky, his name is Galetsky, Menachem Mendel, the big guy, how do you pronounce it? Galetsky? Garlitsky. So about a year ago or something, I was in 7-7. I sell like these little bottles of Rebbe water to everybody and give them out. So he comes to me. He has a really nice New York accent. He said, Svi, I'll make you a deal. He says, if it works, I give you $5. And if it doesn't work, you get nothing. I said, give me the $2. I said, drain the shy cup. Don't make me crazy. So he comes Shabbos. He said, Svi, you made a bad deal. You lost $3. He had a bad back. He drank some of the water and his back, the pain went away. He's drinking it still today. So there's a place called Mendy's here. It's a very popular restaurant joint on the corner next across the street from 770. And so I was there. So I was talking to the guy there to who takes care. He's the cashier. I guess he's the manager there. Nice guy. Forget his name. So I told him about the water. So he said, okay. So I gave him the water. So he says his back feels better. He puts it on it feels better. I mean, this is like Hachodesh. As you take miracles, and you know because it's the Rebbe, it's going to work. It's obvious. You don't even have to believe it anymore because that 30 years experience of people using it. I mean, it's only have to have a moon anymore because you know it works. There's enough people can say it works. And this is what we're talking about. I don't know, but I think it's a good example of talking about living a life of miracles. So this is my own understanding. I mean, the Rebbe doesn't bring it out like this. Says this concept that we should we bring down, live miraculous life in our life. This it says it's emphasized much more in Shabbos when Rosh Chodesh Nissan is in the month, and the Rebbe said, "Amen on the Flaos." That this was said in Tefshin and Aleph. When you look at the letters, it said that I will show you miracles. That it's in addition to the prior one was a year of miracles. Rebbe's looking at each year. So each year, when you look at the letters in the year, they're showing a higher level of miracles and wonders from Hashem. So it says this year the Rebbe says it's called Tefshin and Aleph, which means I ran the flows. I will show you miracles. And B'Shana Zu, Seder Hadrak, Tamid Kasedra. So this on of the Ki B'Shana Zu, Seder Hadrak, Tamid Kasedra, Huba Opashon the Flowers. That in this year the Rebbe says how things go according to the world, nature. It's in a way of wonders, that we see wonders in nature. So that's above from miracles. But from this it's understood that Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan, yesh no nesinas chorek, that when Shabbos comes and Rosh Chodesh Nissan, there's a special power of chazakah, of strengthening, to bringing out 3 Sefer Torahs. That we should be able to do our service in a very high level of miracles. Just relying, like we said, on the Elay, the Ain Eric, to a level that no comparison. Even more than how that the whole month of this way, it's every year supposed to be miracles. But the Rebbe is saying that we should because it's in this year that Teshuvah and Aleph are in Niflaos, that the daily life and everything has to be even more miraculous. The Yesh name, where the Rebbe is explaining the Yesh name, it's a Hachodesh by the Rebbe. The Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan, שלוש ספרי תורה בשבס ראש חודש ניסן לפועל חזק ובורס באופן של הנהגת ניסים לקשש כאן בקריאה בשלוש ספרים. So the Rebbe is going to say that the Rebbe, this is a chiddush from the Rebbe. What's the Rebbe looks at things and puts things together. I make chiddush. I'll give you a chiddush I made. I can't compare it to the Rebbe, but we see that dying Adar is the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu. He's 7. That's 7 the 7th. And the birthday of Melch Mashiach, it says that who go Rishon go Achman, that Moshe Rabbeinu is the first redeemer and he's tied in this the last redeemer. Last redeemer is Melch Mashiach. So you tie these two together. So the Rebbe is born on the 11th of the month. So you said 7 and 11 come 18, which represents Chai. So therefore, when you have the Rebbe, Melch Mashiach, and Moshe Rabbeinu together, who go Achron, so therefore we have them together, so then you have Chai of the Jewish people. But that was something I was looking at. But the Rebbe is going to bring down a Kedushim, something special. Is that the whole concept that you're supposed to live your life in a way of wonders and miracles, and that's in such a way that people should look at you and say that guy lives a life of miracles. That guy is just happy and just spreading joy. That's what he says. So let's see what's he. So, but it says it's in the separate. If you learn in the content of the 3 parshas that we read, it's in them. When you're reading in the parshas Hachodesh Nissan, and on Parshas Hakodesh Nissan, this will be the first. It will be the first month. There shall Chazal the rabbi said, "Shebakar Yaakov b'ban of Kabbalah and Rosh Chodesh Geula, כמו שכניות. והנה בעבור יציץ מגולה מדידה בגמלה, לעבודס אברגל, לעבודס באופן שאין הנהגת ציסיס. So what's the meaning of Hachodesh? It says when the Chazal say on this, that when we chose Yaakov and his children, that they made for them that when he chose us as his people, he gave us the Rosh Chodesh, the Rosh, the head of the month, the new month of redemption. Hashem chose us and he gave a redemption. Okay, it's an amazing thing. Like as soon as he chose us, he gave us a time of redemption. I never really thought of it that much like that. The Indian on what's this mean? What's it mean, redemption? It means that you go out from your limitations and your regular service to service Hashem in a way of anhagas nisis, of miracles. And the Hemshech of Parsha, further on in the Parsha, he talks about the carbon Pesach, the Paschal Lamb. Al Shem Shedilik Vasicham. Why do we call it the Pasuk Pesach? Because it's jumping. It jumped over the house of the Jews. He's also talking about jumping and going, not the that you just don't go from one level to another, like walking up the mountain. From one level you take there, you finish it. You jump from one to another. It's also a level of miracle. Miracles means you're done. You're jumping from one level to another, higher and higher. You're not constrained by the way of the world. And then that's so Parshas Hakodesh. He brings 2 things that have to do with miracles, that Hashem chose us, that he made this the month of redemption, and that also has to do with Dilik and Pesicha. Now the second Parsha, which is in Rosh Chodesh, it talks about Rosh Chodesh. It says the Inyanim for Rosh Chodesh is that Chiddush for Sava al Avodah Shapidar. The idea of Rosh Chodesh means there's a Chiddush, there's innovation, there's an addition to the service that you have according to the regular service. Like it's known that in the days of the week they start from they're kind of according to the sun. Both there. It was night and then it was morning. That always happens. It's continually happening every day. You have night and day. That shaykhs the words have beginning open to me because of this idea of the day of the week that has to do with the day, how you live yourself in a daily way, because it's always happening. The sun setting, it's a continual thing. And August is a natural way, in a way that will never stop. Hashem made the world that this will be like that. So he said, now that's the way of the Goy, that's the way of the world. But Rosh Chodesh, he says over here, it has to do with how the moon goes. So Mitzchanis, that you have a new moon every month, and until it gets bigger and bigger until you have a full moon. This has a relevance to the voda that you should add on August Nisim. He says this is how's this tied into that? I'm not sure. Open the Masufim Halakasam on August Nisim. So somehow he said because Chodesh that this you're getting bigger and bigger. It has to do with adding on, like you talked about before. When you add on the sacrifices, it's a level of Nisim beyond the world. So Hachodesh, we'll finish up this a little bit further. You guys finish up. How far is it? Another 5 minutes. You guys ready? 5 more minutes? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Thank you so much. That's good. Anyways, okay. Okay. So there, okay. So there, okay. So therefore the Rebbe says, what was his last thing? The idea was completely this. You didn't learn this ahead of time. So Rosh Chodesh is like the adding on. Like the moon becomes new again. So it's an add on like we said before, like the Musafim. When you like by Shabbos and Yom Tov. Hakodesh and Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, he bechiber based upon him the to meet him Kesidram, Shabbos Ola B'Shalema B'Chulu B'Yimei Shvua Muslim Kalog Awesome Rosh Chodesh. So what's a Chiddush when you have the Shabbos Rosh Chodesh? Shabbos Rosh Chodesh ties two different things together. It's two different ways of. One is like a continuous service, like you bring it like in Shabbos, you bring it like it says every Shabbos it says Vayikra Shema Ba'aretz. It's a continual thing. So that Shabbos, the union from Shabbos, a continual thing happening that like the 7 days of the week, and you have to move something the additional sacrifices like Rosh Chodesh that this is an avoda that you go from a higher level to higher level. Musafim you add according to the Lacha, and it drawn down and it affects also in the service of your regular daily thing. In other words, you take the level of the regular thing that you bring this regular sacrifice every day, which is this little level of bringing yourself before Hashem. So what's a sacrifice? Sacrifice would be that when you said you would sacrifice your own self. You would nullify yourself. You would make yourself nothing that you become nullified into Hashem. That was a sacrifice. You would elevate everything and into Hashem. That was a sacrifice. So Musafi means that you add additional things to a higher level. So every day we have to give ourselves over to Hashem. So the Musafi means we have to give ourselves even more. And we even reach higher and more special levels. So what is the first sefer we take out? It's Parshas Vayikra. Okay, so we said first that we're to go over this. We're talking about that we can see that the concept of newness and wonders is in each of Sefer Torah. So the first one he says was this will be the first month. It says Hashem, when he chose us, he chose it for a month of Gula. And also it says that in the end of this, that the portion that we read talks about Pesach, the idea of jumping and moving. So it's also the level of these miracles. Then we read Rosh Chodesh. The Rebbe said the idea from Rosh Chodesh is you're adding on in a regular way to the daily sacrifices. You add on to something special, Hachodesh. Now we're going to talk about, and so it says that since you're bringing the regular sacrifices and also the special sacrifice for the day, the special sacrifices have to do with adding on from miraculous ways above the world, a new thing beyond the regular, and so therefore that's brought forth also on Rosh Chodesh because you do both. You bring the regular and the special. Then he's talking about the regular portion that we're talking about for Yikra. It says the Yikra El Moish Vayidaber Hashem Elav Me'ol Moed. It says that Hashem spoke, called to Moish, and he spoke to him from the Oil Moed, perish. In Yanin Kriyazu Haya Ara Hashapa L'Moish Kadesha Ayizah Yokolot L'Mot El Oil Moed. So what's it mean that he called to him? He said this, that he called to him, that he gave up a light, Ha'or Bashma, and an influence, spiritual enlivening, close to the Moshe, that he was able to go up and come to the Oil Moed. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu, without Hashem giving this extra koach, he wouldn't be able to go to such a level. The Indian of voters for college of Israel. So what's this to do with each and every one of us? Because the Torah itself is infinite, and for every time and every place, and has special relevance and special parts. It's also relevant for us now. Each and every one of us has Moshe. Because day at das, shahu amamshich, yichud orin sof lamata. So each and every Jew has this level, that we level of das. Das means to bring down, to connect. That we're able to bring down the unity of the level of the Abish, the unity of the Orim Sof below. Shorem is Galab and Nefesh Adam, that the essence of God should shine and become enclosed in our body. And man, Shayiyah begins Orim Moed, Malashon Vanadati, that a person should become like the tent of the meeting place, a place where Hashem meets. We should all be like the tent of the meeting place where Hashem speaks through us. Also, what's it mean? This means that you should know Hashem, that He's life of life. There's nothing to be except Hashem. Like Abder Kamasha Kadu, like it's written, the Gam Mikrazan Nema Alasi. Not too sure what this is. Let me look in English. Name. I didn't read this over recently. The level, okay, the infinite life to be revealed, and that he should be as a tent of assembling, a moed, knitting venodati, the letters for Nadati, and I will be known, namely to know that Hashem, who is the source of life, and there's nothing else aside from him, and aligning with what is written. See now that only I, is he, and there's no other with me. Which, although this verse is referring to the time to come, when we see everything's Hashem, nevertheless, this power is in the soul of every Jew to connect this thought with Hashem with a firm and strong connection, as if he sees with his physical eyes and tastes of the completeness of the time to come. Wow. This is like unbelievable. Now, this is where we're at. We're going to talk. I'm going to go over this again. But this is an example. This is the Rebbe says, this is who we are. This is where we hold. This is what we had seen. I mean, you learn this. You say, this is me. I don't feel it on it. But that's who I am. So let's go over it again. So the Rebbe says, okay. So it says, Vaikra, Moshe, and he called out to Moshe, Hashem spoke to him, perish. What's it mean? Indian Kriya Zu, this that he called out, this is a shining from godliness to Moshe. And that through this he can be able to come out to the Torah and come into the tent of the meeting place. The angel orders us, and what's this for each and every one of us? Because we know that the Torah is infinite and is relevant. Also, everything in the Torah is relevant for right now. That there is in every man, a person, a level of Moshe. We all have the Mashiach, the special level in this life. What's that? Bechinas das. What's this mean? That each person that Moshe has available to bring down the level of the yichud, the unity of the Orient of the infinite life blessed be below, that it should dwell, that each of us that can make it, that it should dwell, that should be revealed in the soul of man. So we can all live this amazing life. What's it mean? That we should just become a tent for the Abishter. We got some special tent, special meeting place. Well, also Noati, that it became known to him. Also, Noati, what's it mean? That person should know that Hashem is the life of life. Ain't no there's nothing except him. Like bring down the pasuk. It said, I am him. the Gam Shemikos and Nema Alas. And even though it says this revelation, and you can see how everything is Hashem, is only it was said by the future times. The Gam Mikos and Nema Alas. My Kama comes so the Rebbe says there's a power. This power is in each soul of the Jewish people that you can tie yourself, Makshavasu, Hashem. You can tie your mind into God, but cash omelets for chazakah with a tremendous strength that you just promise tied into the Abish. That you can see with his eyes, my eye similar to that will be in the future. It's an amazing thing. And the Rebbe says that by learning, and really the only way I do it is when I learn this stuff. I mean, I don't feel this level. I don't see that. I don't. This is emes, and when you learn it, lishma. Rebbe talks about when you learn something lishma. The Rebbe brings out later. I think it's Perk Shishi and Perk Yavos. He says, Rebbe Meir learned lishma. And I said, Rebbe Meir learned. He said, when you learn lishma, you're married to many things. And then they list them. But Rebbe says, what many things? He says, when you learn lishma, you learn to everything. So this is the same thing. When you learn this stuff, you got to realize this is emes. It's not like something not for me. It's not like something for somebody else. This is me, and that's me, and I have a part of Moshe inside myself, and this part of Moshe inside myself is miraculous, and I can do miraculous things, and I can live a life of geula and redemption, and I can feel it and see it and be part of me. Now, this is the good thing that the Rebbe's talking about. With Gamliel, like it's emphasized in the Parshas Shmini Rosh Chodesh Nissan. That's also emphasized. I don't know where we're coming down in Shmini, but the Rebbe says in the Parshas, they have Parshas Shmini. Oh, the different Parshas that we're reading. So Shmini is I think this year they read Shmini 8 times. Shmini the 8th day was for to bring it was Rosh Chodesh Nissan. This talking about when Moshe Rabbeinu erected and put down the Mishkan. It was the last day, the last week of Adar, and he says, and finally it stood up on the 8th day and it stayed erected. That was on Rosh Chodesh Nissan. Vaikra al Moshe. This also had to do with that we're talking about Vayikra. They called to Moshe. But Teitza Eishmin Hashem Vayar Kal Ava Yerunu, and it says over there what happened then, that the fire went out from Hashem, right? It came down because ate sacrifices, and everybody was so excited. But Shivs and Yila Shkina, that the revelation of the indwelling of the Shkina, the Hemzik was there, Shalemus Avodas, and after this there came the completeness of the service of the sons of Aaron, Nani Bavia, of Bnei Aaron, Nani Bavia, both in the Kalas and Nevis, Vayimus of Hashem, Dugmas Bodis, the Kal Yisrael, and Bnei Aaron. So, a very interesting thing. We know that most people don't pick it up, but it says in the Torah that when they were having the 10 Commandments and everything was given over that time, that the sons of Aaron went and they brought incense before Hashem. So usually things that they did something that wasn't right, so that's why they died. But we learn that deeper meaning is that somebody had to give place on nefesh. Somebody had to give the whole being over to Hashem to sanctify the holy the Mishkan, and they did it. They gave the whole being up. So it means that says they died before Hashem. It was similar. So what does this mean? So it's another thing. So what does this mean to us? They went, put their lives before Hashem. This means the service for each Jew, that each Jew is called the sons of Aaron. The Hachodesh that they should, and Leos, that since they were the students of Aaron, Chazal say, call him Lamed, anybody who teaches somebody something, Mali Alav Yaldo, is as though he gave birth to him. What did Aaron say? Oh, Shalom, of Shalom. You have to love peace and you have to go after peace. Oh, that's a brios. And he loved the created creatures of God because God created them. They're special. And he would bring them the Torah. Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Nissan, the class and Nefesh and the Shabbos roof of Dafka. Says that their level has to be that you totally give your being over. But in other words, you have to be totally give yourself over to God. Everything is just for Hashem. Totally give yourself over. Everything's just help another Jew. Totally give yourself over. But in a way that not that you that aren't that they expired and back up to Hashem, the way you stay down in this world. Was that token of Sabachish, but what is open on August thesis? Hachodesh Elochem, Shabbos Rosh Nasa Inyan Yikram Moish Vaydav Hashem Ein Laboim La'ed. And the Rebbe said this is the content of the additional and the most and the innovative thing, the chiddush and the service that we're supposed to not only do like regular service, but we're supposed to do service in miraculous ways. Hakodesh Elochem. Shebavoda, that in the service, each and every Jew, Nasa Inyan, each and every Jew, Nasa Inyan, but that we make, each Jew makes himself that he should be Yik, like Moshe, Vaikra Hashem al Moshe, and Hashem called him Moshe, Vayadaber only spoke to Moshe, Ad Hashem was a word of other place and never said, each Jew should reach this level that Hashem is calling to you. And you're going in there making yourself a mishkan to Hashem until a level that you totally give your life over. But Od Be'ikra in the essential way, Shabbos Hakodesh, but what is often done? August Nissan, not some often Nitskis. So it says, and also the Rebbe says, and this motive that we should do this, it should be done in a way of a set thing that this way you live your life, that your mom is given over your whole being to Hashem. Parsha, like it's written later on, Lo Hashvish Melech Bris Elokecha. Let's just say that it will never be destroyed. The covenant that we made with Hashem, covenant Melech. Bris is the Melech. Kabris is Shakaim the Adu Milim. That the covenant we make with Salt is like an eternal covenant. So what's he saying here? Covenant. So what's he saying here? Let's go over this again. So, and then, okay. But that token, that this is the whole idea of we're going to go over this. This is the whole idea of the service, that we should service ways of miraculous ways, that each and every Jew, he should do in a level like it says, Vaikra el Moshe. Now that Hashem gave godliness over to Moshe, but then he was able to go to oil. He was able, for this new power Hashem gave him, to make himself an oil, a tent, to make ourselves a tent for the Eibishter, Hashem's dwelling place, until it to such a level that it close enough that his old boy it just expired. He gave his whole life over to Hashem. Everything, there was nothing left, but that he did that still in this world. But Vaikra, he says, that this new thing should be in a way that you should do it in a miraculous way. It should be done that we should do it theistic. You should do it in a regular thing. You should be living this miraculous way in a regular way, like it says in the Parsha. Lo, it says that there was in the Parsha there was a bris that was made with milk, with salt. He says there this everlasting bris. So this interest. There's another thing, like I do my miracles with the Rebbe's. Well, some way it seems to fit. I'm just always going out there talking to people, and telling people and not telling people. Right now it's like giving it out the water. It's like I've used it so much and given out so much and seen so many miracles. It's not even like miraculous in a way. It's like it is miraculous, but it works all the time. It's not like something. Well, when it works, I mean, it always amazes me. Yeah, but it's amazing. Now each one is amazing, right? Because the Rebbe says miracles bring the Gula Shlema. That used to be that's another thing. But it's just about. I mean, you give it to somebody, you expect to hear good news regularly. Some people, people lately are just, Chaim was talking about in Shul about how everybody's on Xanax, on this and that. I think every drink everyone. A lot of people, I know one guy. It's a good story, anyways. He this is like 1996, 97, something. It's a friend of mine. He was a Persian guy. His father wasn't Jewish. I think his mother was, but he started to do tshuva. Before he started to do tshuva, he's like a guy who was he was a really good salesman. He could figure out who and what you were, press your buttons, and get what you want out of you. He knew how to handle sick with people. So he was married with somebody who wasn't Jewish and and he would get up in the middle of the night. It wasn't for him. He'd like to kill her. Finally, they put him all kinds of psychiatric drugs, and finally he went up everything, and he couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. He was good. He was a nervous wreck. He could never sleep. So I gave him Rebbe water. At that time, this is one of the first people I gave to, and that night he comes. He has a dream. Okay, now this dream had such an effect upon him about 6, 7 years ago. This happened in 1995. 6, 7 years ago, something. I met him again. I meet him every once in a while when I was in LA. So I meet him every couple of years, a couple of times a year. So the only time somebody they asked me to speak on honor of their father's yard site in a Taman shul, the Taimani shul over there, between by Shabbos Chodesh. So I went there, and my friend shows up. So he looks at me. He says, "That dream," he says, "is more with me today than ever before." He says, I was practically dying Israel, and the Rebbe comes in, and he puts his hand on my head. I totally calm down. He takes me, lies me down in bed. And when originally had the dream, he told me he slept like a baby, like he hadn't slept in years. Now he told me this dream is more with him now than ever before. So that drink of water was the dream that cured his anxiety. This is a true story. He doesn't have amazing stuff. So I mean, anyway, that's one of the things that, and really, I mean, I've been talking to people, which is one of the, as I'm going over and looking at this stuff, I'm seeing how right I was, and what I'm talking about, the reason why people are having problems right now is because they don't have this nisim niflaos. They don't have this miraculous stuff in their daily lives, and it's here for us. The kids. I mean, my nephew, they knew about the river, but he takes it every day to school. I mean, he had some miracles with it. It's going to affect him his whole life. He's going to know that they're miracles. They're just miracles. It's real. I'm telling you, this is what maybe that's the thing with the water. Why it's a really good example of. I mean, I drink it every day on Hachodesh. That live a miraculous way in the physical world. I mean, I don't make pashatim and stuff up. It's not for me. But well, I mean, this one makes sense to me. Anyway, let's finish. See if we can finish this. Yesh name Shakriya Bagimel Svarm he low rock Chazaka all at what is open to Nagas Nisis. Alagam Gimel open divers open the Nagas Nisis. So Rebbe's going down to a further level. It's beyond what the Rebbe said. We're all this level. We can all live this level. That's who we are. It says, and the Rebbe says, I'm going to say something more new. That when you're reading these books, these 3 different books of the Torah, it's not only a strengthening in the way of that you should do in the way of living your life in a miraculous way, but there are also 3 different levels of miracles. Kriya, the Parshas Hakodesh, Kalis, Inyan, Agas Nisim. He says the Kriya by Parshas Hakodesh, but this is the first month. It's the general thing on conducting a miraculous way. Base Kriya the Shabbos Rosh Chodesh that we saying that there was Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. Habulan Hagas Nisim Rosh Chodesh al Hagas of Ragil Shabbos. So the first one, because it's the general thing about living a way of miracles. The second one that was Shabbos Rosh Chodesh is that we should take this way of living miracles in our daily life. But again with the parts of Vayikra and August Nisan Nasa Davaraka Kabub Ovanitskis. And then the third one, I've never learned this. It's amazing how he learns this stuff out. It says a Parshas Vayikra means that not only we should bring it down in our daily life, but we should do it in that it should be Nitzkis. It should be there eternally. I mean, everything we should do should just shine for infinite of the great miracles, the miracle light of Hashem from Nissan into the world. We also see this in Haftorah. Seeing which is the which is they seem the seem and the continuation and the final thing of all the books. שבתחילת ובסיומה מדובר עוד הקשר השייכות לנאצי עם כל יהודי Israel. That in the beginning and the end, it talks about the relevance of the Nazi with all the Jewish people. ישנם מה שרמז זה בבוז כל בני ישראל, היא באופן של נשיאוס. That the Rebbe says that this has to do with each Jew at a level of being lifting up. The mind of a above the ways of the world. Woven shall on August nieces that should be in a miraculous way. Below Od Ella what open shall not Nisius. It's not shouldn't be in a way of Nisius Nemchakos. Nemchakos Ulas Gamba Bodis Ayede Araga. That should not be just a way of that we're lifting up, but as we drawn down into the physical world. But until this is the way you live. Chukas Olam Tommy. There should be a quote forever. But Olas Tommy. The Rebbe is saying here that we have to live and bring down and realize live a totally godly life with the essence of our soul being revealed. And that's how we have to live our life in a way. That's how we are. That's who you are forever and ever. Anyway, Zygazont, everybody. We can start this more often. And you guys liked it? You're interested?
Yes, very much.
Can you get more people to come? You have friends? If we start doing this regularly, you can get some more people to come? Everybody.
I can put it on Jewish Center of Indian Country Facebook page, and if you get me the information early enough, there are people all over the world.
Okay, well, that's what I have to push to do. It's good, though. You like it, yeah? You learn to like it, yeah?
I could use a list, you know?
You got to listen to all my classes. Listen to my classes. Listen to my classes. I gave a class on the shuk and the great chauffeur. Listen to some of the classes I have on YouTube, too, but they have on another one, a YouTube channel. You listen, they're all... I have no idea. I know why I'm a Zolka for this stuff, but I know it's good, and it's unbelievable.
I gotta go to bed now, but please text me or whatever.
Where do you live?
Oklahoma.
Chaim, can you mail or some out or not?
So what?
Chaim, can you mail some out? Huh? You have her address?
Yeah.
That's what I want to set up. The Rebbe water that's the problem with it. Oh, I sell it. I get the claims. There's nothing set up. But I know I had a guy who's going to help me. What's his name? Zivi. Yitzchak. He figured out how to do it. But I can't get back. He won't get back in touch with me. There's a. You have to order like a certain filter that you put on the sink that has the qualifications, and you tell them you bought the filter. Then you can sell the water on Amazon. Then I just have to figure out how to do it. I don't know how to do this stuff. I need somebody to help me. Anybody wants to do it. And then all it is you sell a little bottle and sell it for $20. You don't want to make money at it. You just want to get it out there. The thing isn't to make money. The man is just have it available to the world. Let God take care of giving you money another way. Have it available to the world. Let God take care of giving you money another way. But that's because you can't make a lot of money at it because you can make as much as you want for one bottle. So you can't sell a lot unless you opened up. I've really had money. I would open like a beverage, like a health food beverage thing with Rebbe water. They did. They used to make a lot of money with it. They still do, but they had the Kabbalah energy drink they had also, and the Kabbalah water, they were selling it like for $20 in the stores out here.
What?
Yeah.
$1,000?
$20 for a bottle of Kabbalah water. I mean, that stuff works. It's real. I just don't know how to get it out there. I have the stories. I have 30 years. My wife has stories. There's no problem when you hear the stories. There's no problem once people hear the stories to use it, but I prefer trying to figure out how to get that out. And the other stuff, my classes, you got to tell people about. And let's get this out to the world because we all need this. I mean, it's not my stuff; it's what the Rebbe is saying. It's just I happen to, for whatever reason, a very good understanding of it, and I can bring it out to people. And that's my richness. That's my money. That's what I have to give out. But we have to work together, and the water and all this stuff. I'm a guy. I've been through a lot of problems, different divorces. I just keep pushing. Every one of, tell you my son, it was I always like to ask people about Rebbe stories, different things about Rebbe's. So this is maybe 10 years ago. I'm not good with the timing. In L.A., there was this lady who was she was running for public office for some city thing, not a big thing. She was like 22 years old, the youngest one ever running. So he was going around the different shuls to try and get people to vote for her. So I asked her, talking to her, she tells me she was, I forget which Rebbe, it was a famous Rebbe. She was like a great granddaughter or something. It's right in line. She says that everyone thinks that she got everything from him. Very sweet lady. So she said she had a picture of the Rebbe. One of the rabbis gave her a picture of the Rebbe, bracha Mabayas, said bracha for the, he was going to move into a new apartment. And it stayed in where she was working. And, and 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 she was sitting there. One guy came, like around my age, 70 years old, came in, wasn't religious. He looked